has required them to take on a certain form. Whatever you do daily, whatever you think about daily, you will become. What you choose to become is more important than what you desire. Because what you desire can only be sustained by what you have become. A millionaire is not a man who has got what he wanted. A millionaire is a person who has become something that can sustain an economic empire. Ain't that deep? Everybody who has something has become something in relationship to what it is that they desire. It is not what you desire. It is what are you willing to become. That is the real question. Because if some people knew that what they desired would make them become, a lot of times they wouldn't even desire those things anymore. And they would pick desires that would be more in alignment with what they would choose to become. So thoughts do not manifest. Thoughts become manifestations. And the first manifestations that your thoughts will become will be you. And then those thoughts will become your associations. Those thoughts will become your environments. And those thoughts will become your community. And then those thoughts will become things. So it's not about attracting things. It's about the becomingness of our reality. That's more important. What type of reality are we going to become? What type of reality do we want to see become? What type of energy and vibration do we want to live in? That is our real question. So when we realize that, we'll change. And we'll see what is sufficient and what is efficient for us. And we'll find that in black nationalism. Because if we want black nationalism, if we want a divine black nation as a whole, if we want to experience that, a divine kingdom on this earth, what will it require for the people who want to experience that to become? What does that goal require of us? And once you know what that goal requires of you, and you see whether you want to become that or not, then you'll know if that's the goal that you really want. Because whatever we have not got out of life, or we have not received, whatever we have not achieved, it was because of what we were not willing to become. What we were not willing to be, do, and have for those goals. That's the only reason we didn't achieve it. Because if you're willing to be, do, and have what is necessary for those goals, then you will achieve them. Simply. Almost effortlessly. Because when you are into the beingness of it, things just seem to happen effortlessly. You're not even thinking about it. Because you're in the beingness of it. You're in the becomingness of this particular thing happening. So it happens effortlessly without your thought. You don't even need to think about it. You're in the environment. You're in the reality of it. Because that's what you have simply become. So when people see you, they see a big sign on you. Which is the becomingness of your most predominant thought. Of which you project in your character, in your persona, and in your attitude, and in your energy. You project that. So it's not who we can convince, and it's not who we can influence. It's who we can become, and what we can represent to our becomingness, and what we can affect in. Thank you. It was like a cartoon.
So these are islands on the coast of California called the Guam Islands. No, but could you push off? Okay.
First universe, by way of our becomingness. This is a whole different perspective. So I hope I've enlightened people to understanding the universal laws and breaking through the illusion of the separation between the material world and the mental and the spiritual world. There's no separation between the matter and the mind. Matter is mind, no difference. Mind is in matter. Mind takes on material form. Mind identifies itself and its ideas and its existence through material reality. There is no separation. So, our becomingness is a more holistic way of creating than just thinking that we're thinking about things manifest. That our thoughts are what we want to manifest. That our thoughts are what is creating foolishness. It is our becomingness that determines what we will experience. Now, because things that happen. I remember I used to wear my Kung Fu gi. People would come and want to get into spar with me. Now, I wasn't thinking about getting into no sparring, getting into no martial arts competitions with people. That's not what I thought about at all. But why did I attract it? Because of what I became. You understand what I'm making? Through my image, through what I projected. You understand what I'm making? So it was my becomingness that manifested these experiences, not my immediate thoughts. Thoughts don't have power until they turn into a becomingness. Do you see what I'm making? They take on some solid form through your physical projection. Those thoughts are powerless, but when you think them over time, they turn into crystallized personality, character traits. They turn into identity. Thoughts do. But until they turn into that, they have no power. It's just static electricity. It's like rubbing your feet on the carpet and then trying to plug up an iron. It won't happen until you get some consistent surge of energy, some consistent charge, or some consistent flow of electricity. When thoughts keep coming and coming and coming, and you keep having that same thought every day, eventually it becomes a current flow of electricity. Versus just that. So I hope I've clarified the difference between creating by thinking and creating through becoming. Big difference. And I hope I will awaken people to that, because that is the difference. Because I look at people and I say, man, if they knew where the flaw was in their perception. Because I see a lot of things happening in their life, and they say that their thoughts are creating their reality, and they're not happy about what happened. I see a lot of situations that I know they're not happy about, that don't relate to what they have thought about. I know they thought something different than that. But they didn't become something different than that. You know, if you've thought a certain thought for 25 years, what is crystallized as due to that thought? Do you know that the postures people have are crystallized thoughts? If you think a certain way, your thought will become your posture. It will become your persona. Do you see the one I make? Literally. Your body, when you see people, and you see as we get older, there are certain lines in our face that are distinctive. Those represent thought impressions. The thought has crystallized in the face. Do you see what I'm making? So this form, when we look at each other, it's going to be heavy. You are not seeing a person. You are seeing the formation of thought. So you're not even seeing people. You're seeing crystallized thoughts. You're seeing what this spirit has thought about consistently. If this spirit has thought about anger consistently, then you see a frown on their face. All the time. You know, they look like they're frowning all the time. Because that's what they have thought about, is anger. If you see a person that looks like they're smiling all the time, their face is stuck in a smile. I know y'all have seen that before. It seems like their natural persona is happy or smiley, right? Because that thought has crystallized as an expression of a smile. So when you look in the mirror, you are not seeing you. You are seeing what the real you have been thinking about consistently. Y'all don't hear me? Whatever you see in the mirror, you're seeing what the real you have thought about consistently. So when they say look in the mirror and talk to the mirror and say I am powerful, I am strong, they're making you recreate your image by crystallizing a new thought. Y'all know what I'm saying? Because now your physical form is going to take on the new image of your thought. Ain't that deep? That's profound. So when you look at people, you're not seeing them. You're seeing the thoughts that they held manifest into physical form. That's what you're looking at. Those thoughts crystallize. And some of us have came here with a thought already. We have come here with the thought of our ancestors. We've come here with the thoughts of our relatives. We have come into form as those thoughts. But now we're at a point to take those crystallizations and begin to form them to our own visualizations. We're at a point where we can form our own images of ourselves. We can take what we have and begin to mold it into what we want to see, into what we want to be. But if we can't mold and shape this physical reality that we live in, call me, then you ain't got to worry about the universe. You don't even have to worry about attracting to you this or that if you cannot shape and form the being that is in front of you. And that's why back in ancient times you had yoga that went with metaphysical thoughts. You didn't have metaphysical thoughts without physical austerities. They went hand in hand. Nowadays, you can say, well, I'll create my own reality without no austere practice to create the physical reality that's you. But what makes a person think they can affect reality in general to make it rain and snow when they can't even make themselves stop crying? How you going to make it stop raining if you can't make yourself stop crying? Ain't that deep? You're going to stop raining, but you can't stop crying. That's deep. You're going to stop earthquakes, but you can't stop trembling in this yoga posture, in that yoga posture. Trying to hold this pose. You can't even stop your body from trembling, but you're going to stop earthquakes with the powerful thought. Isn't that a little bit extreme? So the sign of the true master is a person who can affect their immediate being. And their proof to affect that is the potential to affect more. So I'm going to close that part in speaking on that. With that, our thoughts are our becomingness. And our becomingness becomes the reality and the environment we live in and the people that we associate with. That's the extensions, those are extensions of our own becomingness. So every day we should be focused on our becoming, not our desires. Some people get caught up in their desires and then 10 years later they say, well, what have I become? Have you ever heard that before? Because they didn't know how desire related to becomingness. It never occurred to them that what you desire is going to change you first before it changes the universe. It'll change you first. Whatever you want for the universe wants for you first.